So let's talk about Stranger Things Tales from 85, because I have just finished watching the show. It did come out yesterday, all 10 episodes. And I have just finished watching it the day after. So, yeah, I just wanted to make a quick video on my thoughts on the show itself. I've seen it's had a lot of mixed reaction from Stranger Things fans online, which, overall doesn't really matter to some fans, but I mean, to the overall health of the show, and of course, like the Duffers and Netflix want it to do well and give off good vibes and give off good reviews. It hasn't had the best like the main show usually does, which I think was expected, because the way they promoted the show, the way the trailers came out, it just wasn't. I think it struck a lot of nerves in fans, and I think that's fair enough, because it did strike a lot of nerve into me as well. And I will say that I was worried that this show would be, I guess, real and actually happened. And I mean, it from what we could tell by the ending of it did happen, and it does take place between season 2 and 3. So there's a lot of references to season 2, obviously, because it's the last thing that happened in their lives, and we're going towards season 3 with the ending of this show. So there's a lot of good things in this show, don't get me wrong. There is a lot of positives, and there's a lot of things that I enjoyed taking away from this show, but I think there's a lot of negatives and a lot of cons to this show, which are just very unnecessary. And I think the main one is the fact that it actually did happen, and it wasn't a campaign. It wasn't like a made-up story by Mike, which I think a lot of fans were expecting. Everything we've seen in this show is just very unrealistic. I think the stakes in this feel a lot higher than the stakes in season 3 and the stakes in some other seasons that we've seen, which, I don't know, I just feel like it shouldn't be when it's a filler sort of show in between a season of the main Stranger Things show that we love. I just think that the stakes should have been a lot lower. It just everything that happens in this show, from the weapons that are used from Nikki, and it's just very unnecessary. I just don't see why they have these weapons, and they have Will jumping around like he's Daredevil. They have certain characters moving like they've never done before when they're this young still. They're fresh out of season 2, fresh out of everything that just happened. I think there is a lot of negatives, but the positives that I love is the dynamic between the group and the party that we love from the main show. The dynamic between Max and Lucas doesn't disappoint. They definitely grow and build on that relationship between those two. Out of everything that we've seen in the main show, I think they got that perfect in this show. I think the vibe of the show as well just has that early Stranger Things season feel, with the young kids and the group that we love in Hawkins. It gives off that same vibe, and it gives that nostalgia back to Stranger Things, back to the early seasons, which I really loved about this show. I think they did that perfectly. I think they got that correct. And there's a lot of parallels to early seasons, to the first 2 seasons. The show starts off how Stranger Things season 1 starts, which I really love that. There is limited screen time for Steve, Nancy, and Jonathan, which is a shame, because I think they're so important to Stranger Things as a whole. But we did get, in episode 5, a lot of Nancy, and we did get Steve Harrington as well, quite a bit in this as well. We got a few scenes in one episode where they're highlighted a lot, so that was nice to see. That was those episodes are I think episode 5 is probably the best, because that's the episode where they're all together at once, and it's a funny episode, and it's it just has that early Stranger Things feel. It has that Stranger Things feel, whereas the rest of the show just, I don't know, it just has a very different feel to it. It just feels very unnecessary and over the top, and something that should probably be a campaign and a made up story, which Mike made up. Maybe it would have been cool to see older Mike writing this story himself, going over everything they experienced when they were younger, and he made that a story. I think that would have been cool, but I think that's a missed opportunity, and they decided to make this event actually real, it actually happened, which I am really disappointed about, because I don't know, I feel, like I said, the stakes feel a lot higher in this than like some Stranger Things seasons, which is a shame, because like I feel like this show could have been like What If, you know, like in Marvel. Like you can you can watch it and think it's not canon. Like if I'm gonna rewatch it, I'm probably gonna watch it thinking that it's not real, because overall I actually did have a lot of fun with this show, but in the back of my mind I was always thinking, are they going to reveal soon if this is just a campaign, if it's just a story that's made up, that it actually didn't happen? I was always in the back of my mind. But I think if I rewatch it, it's obviously just going to be for the enjoyment factor of the show, because I feel like the show itself, you can have a lot of fun with it, you can enjoy it, but it's just, I don't know, you always have that in the back of your mind that it's an actual, like, it actually happened. And I just don't think it should have, because of everything that they had in this show, everything that they used, and even them telling Nikki about Elle and everything with the upside down just doesn't feel realistic. Like I don't think, if you watch the main show, you know they wouldn't do that. Like it's just, I don't know. I think they needed to think about it a lot more with this show. I feel like they did a lot more negatives than there are positives about this show. But of course, like I did give it its flowers. There are some positives with this show. It gives that nostalgic Stranger Things feel. It gives us the dynamic with the party, which obviously we expected, and it's nice to see that as well. It's nice to see the dynamic and like the relationships in the group as well. That's really enjoyable, but yeah, there's just more negatives, unfortunately, about this show than there are positives. I think the animation style is cool, but it's not my favourite animation style. It's fine. It's not really like a massive negative. It's not something that put me off the show, but that's just another thing that could have been a lot better about this show, is the animation style. But overall, I think you can have some fun with it. There are positives, but there are a lot of negatives that you will be thinking about with this show. So yeah, I don't know what I'd rate this show. I probably won't rate it in this, but just because I'm not too sure yet. I probably have to rewatch it again to do that. But overall, I think it does its job, I guess, but it just doesn't hit the same like the main show, you know. But I guess you can have some fun with it. I think it was catered to kids as well, more so than adults. But you have to watch the first 2 Stranger Things seasons to get it, because there's a lot of references. So again, let me know what you guys think. I think there are a lot more negatives, but I would love to know your guys' opinions. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you in the next one.